just in time for the very next interview that we are having right this morning. Remember, our SMS line is on and active. SMS as 20154. That is the number that you can use. Send us your texts. Remember, you can also go online on Twitter. The hashtag is Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. Tag me at Ram Aguko. Our official handle is at KBC Television, and my colleague's handle at Jane Wambui. This morning, I'm joined by someone who is a former journalist, a former presenter of the #1 channel, the #1 broadcaster, KBC. Your Kenyans watching. This is none other than Anyiko Ghani. Karibu sana.
Asante.
As we have now a scenario whereby now the interviewer
becomes
the interviewee.
Nice.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
And here I'm holding a newspaper from the year 2063. We've just come from the future, and as you can see here, a president, Madam President, lives for the past, meaning we have a president who has come from the future in 2063, coming to Kenya in 2019 to tell us how the future is, to inspire us. And this is what Anyiko is doing right here. And you may wonder, how? 2063 in 2019. Anyiko?
Yes?
Form ni gani?
Form ndio.
But this is quite an interesting piece here.
It's quite interesting.
Yeah, this morning we're talking about creatives right here on Good Morning Kenya. So be part of this conversation. How is it that you came up with this idea? This is quite something.
Okay, first of all, I did not come up with the idea, but I edited this newspaper.
Okay.
And there's a group of creatives and artists who are pushing the Form Ni Ghani movement. I'm one of them. And everybody in the movement has a role to play, right? So for me, I edited this newspaper, and most of the ideas came from students from the University of Nairobi, the School of Journalism. Again, my former school. So
what are you in?
If you're from University of Nairobi, put your hands up.
No, what are you say? You put your hands up in the air.
Yeah,
no one.
So it was brilliant, you know, working with the students from University of Nairobi. They have brilliant ideas. I mean, the idea for the Form Ni Ghani is, what is your dreams for the future? Okay. And as a creative movement, Form Ni Ghani is creating awareness regarding issues like family planning, future planning, change, progress, contraception. And these conversations have been had so many times, you know. So as creatives, as artists, of course, we're going to come and communicate to you in a very artistic and creative way.
Now, you got people from different spheres actually here.
People from different spheres.
Coming in to just put in this piece.
This piece and so many other pieces. You know, there's a photo exhibition which is still at National Archives right now. It's actually going to be put down at the end of the day. So today is the last day. So so anybody watching, they can go to the National Archives to check out this exhibition. There's a Form Ni Ghani exhibition, and it's documenting over 35 stories of different Kenyans from different walks of life, saying their dream of the future and what they are currently doing right now.
Do you think, as you know, as creatives, are you being felt by Kenyans, by people? Do people really understand the role of creatives in as much as molding the shape of the society is concerned?
I think a lot of people don't understand the role of creatives, and even creatives themselves don't know the power they have. People are starting to understand, and more creatives are starting to express themselves more. And we saw this even by the launch of this campaign, when we distributed this newspaper in town last week on Thursday. This female president, President Imani Tumaini, she came to Kenya. She came to town. She was in town on Thursday.
And I'm seeing here she was transported through an unveiled time portal machine.
Yes.
She had 100 female time warriors.
Yes, she came with them. And they went to town. They went back to the CBD. So people are really wondering what's happening. People are coming to ask questions. And it was so hard to answer some of the questions they were asking, because they were like, Uni nani?
Do you know this looks like a sci-fi movie somewhere?
Exactly. It is kind of like sci-fi, and it's a reality, and at the very same time, it's a creation. It's a broad idea which has been brought to life.
Why a president?
Why?
Why a president? Why a female president here? And, you know, how does that put everything into place?
I think the question is, why not a female president? You see, because this female president came with a message, because everybody was coming to town running saying, hey, what is this woman saying? You know, her message is very simple. The future of Kenya is bright, and the decisions Kenyans make today and now will influence the future. That's the only message she had. So basically, this is a big statement. This whole Family Ghani newspaper, even the female president, and she was 6 months pregnant. This is a statement that there could be a future where there's a female president, where a president can be female and can even be pregnant.
And it can happen in the country.
Yes, it should happen. I hope it's going to happen before 2063. But it already happened in 2063. But the future is written.
Reading this article, I mean, this newspaper, there's quite much that, you know, it can make someone think, you know, about where are we heading to.
And that's the whole idea, you know, to spark a conversation, to spark critical thinking. You know, it's thought-provoking.
Kenya's teen pregnancy rate is the lowest ever recorded, according to the newspaper. Do you think we can ever reach this thing? Is it a true story?
Yes, it can be a true story. It can be.
It can be. Look at how the rate is. And just to read a part of it, I see you said the data collected by the Kenya Adolescents Health Center was highlighted in its most recent report, the Kenya Health Survey 2063. It showed that only 1% of all adolescent women have already given birth, a steep decline from 15% in 2019. A report further finds that 0.5% pregnancy with their first child compared to 3% in 2019. When you look at this, you know, data here, it means that someone really took the time to you know, analyze how far it can go.
Thank you for acknowledging.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work. It was a lot of research. And as you can see, most of the stories are based, all the stories are based in 2063, but most of them have the history that has already been written. So there could be a story that the teen pregnancies is lowest as of now, but there could be some facts from back in the future. So putting together this newspaper was not just a creative effort, but also a very, I would say, had to be realistic and had to have some facts. So yeah.
Yeah, because these statistics are really, you know, something. It's not something that you can just cook. Yeah?
But you know, it's
the
teen pregnancies rate could be that down. You know, if people understood this project, you know,
especially with this generation, with Generation X.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Like the Family Ghani movement, you know, advocates for future planning, family planning, contraception, change, progress. So if young people can understand that at whatever young age you are, you know, you are responsible for your own life, your own planning. It starts from wanting to do my own planning. You know, before you say family planning, tuanze na planning. Exactly.
Harambee Stars come from behind to beat brave Brazil.
At the World Cup.
At the World Cup?
Yes.
Do you know Harambee Stars on the AFCON? Here we're talking about the World Cup.
Give them 44 years. Watakuwa wameshinda. Did you see how our goalie played? So me, I believe in another 44 years. Tutakuwa tunashinda World Cup.
Another 44 years, World Cup to Kanaya. Hey. And Harambee Stars will be beating up Brazil.
Yes. Have you seen the referee? That lady.
I'm seeing, what's her name?
I think Nafula.
Nafula Were. Kenya's World Cup winning coach. And wow, I wish we could have wow, this is something different. No one can expect this to happen.
No, nobody can.
You sound optimistic that do you know, there was a survey that was released last week, and around 45% of Kenyans believe that Kenya is heading towards the wrong direction. You know, that is an increase. Almost half of the country believes we are not heading anywhere. Reading this newspaper, it gives the total opposite. Harambee Stars winning, you know, beating Brazil at the World Cup. Yet at the AFCON they were beaten there. What's
It's
the
actually
reality?
interesting that you said there's a survey where Kenyans thought we're heading the wrong direction, because there was another survey that the Formally Ghani team did, but only 1,000 people in Nairobi and Bungoma. And over 90% of the young people in Nairobi and Bungoma said that they believe family planning and the concept of personal and future planning is very important. So it's quite interesting, because if this other survey say that 45% think Kenya is heading to the wrong direction, these other ones say that it's important to have a plan. So basically, if we feel like we're heading into the wrong direction, we have to take matters into our own hands and be like, I'm responsible for my life, for those people I know, for the creatives around me, for my friends. You know, let's start a movement. Let's start our agenda. I think that's what's going to move us forward.
And you believe that as a country, we can be able to spearhead it towards the direction that we want, based on what we want, based on how creative we can get?
Of course, it's very much important. And one of the messages Madam President Imani Tumaini came with was the fact that she sees Kenya is at crossroads and the role of women is uncertain. So I think it's a time for women to also stand up and have a seat at the table. You know, many of these conversations, women are left out, and they should be part of it. I think we must have a gender balance in the quest to move our country forward.
And how many artists are you working with so far when it comes to putting this thing together?
Well, the students from the University of Nairobi who we worked with on this newspaper are about 15, and about 6 are the ones who contributed. Some of them contributed ideas and some contributed actual articles that they wrote. So this particular newspaper project is about 15 students, and I thank the University of Nairobi School of Journalism and Professor Nyuto for this assistance and for this collaboration with Formally Ghani. But the entire Formally Ghani movement has hundreds of creatives. When President Tumaini came last week on Thursday, she had 100 warriors. They came to town, they went to CBD.
All dressed up.
Can you imagine? The outfits were really dope, made by the renowned designer Kevo Abra. It was really cool. And I would love to bring maybe them here another time.
Yeah, and we welcome them. We would like them to showcase what they are doing
You know.
as creatives. Yeah, it can be very nice.
It can be nice.
When you see such kind of activities happening as creatives, how does it inspire you? How does it push you? What gives you, that drives to say that I think there is something that we can do. There is a way we can be able to put 1 and 2 together as creatives, because that's, to some level, there are challenges.
I think what inspires me the most is just to see that there's change in my country from the time, I would say maybe from the past 10 years or for the past 5 years. I'm seeing more of this type of movements. I'm seeing more creatives coming together to pull up projects. I've seen even photographers coming together to, do photography around Kenya, around Africa, from Kenya. You see, recently I saw a group of women bikers, biking around East Africa, and they're coming from Kenya. So there's something happening when creatives are coming together to do different stuff. And for me, I see change. And for me, I see an opening for creatives, to use their ideas and brains to create employment even, you see. So for this Formally Ghani, we're talking about change, we're talking about progress, we're talking about family planning. I'm seeing it happen through the creatives. I never saw it happen elsewhere. So with these creatives, I'm seeing something being done differently. I never thought this could be a way of communicating this particular issue.
Even we have an issue here that you actually, this magazine addresses quite much. The U.S. Curriculum Specialists on Benchmarking Tour in Nairobi. We are talking about things that no one can imagine would happen.
By that time, the education system has changed from 844 to it is.
I'm seeing here we have
6422.
Yes, 6242 actually.
Yes.
Inducted in 2030. Do you feel that at some point, as the United States partnering with other countries, the way we have the diplomacy issues, we have international relations, benchmarking in Nairobi to see how they can take roles and ideas from Nairobi. Is that something that is possible?
It is possible. Remember, only a couple of months ago, there was a teacher who won the global award and prize for best teacher in the world. You remember that?
Yes.
And the prize was, I think, $100,000 US dollars. So it is possible. And the reason why the teacher was awarded this global prize was because he was taking his salary and sharing with the families of the needy kids, you know, so they could come to school. And then they went to a science congregation or competition. And despite the fact that the school was coming from like this village and having all these challenges, they emerged #1. So if that happened already in 2019, that there's
much more can happen.
Much more can happen in the future.
They can borrow from us.
Yes.
Not us borrowing from them.
Yes.
You are a leader.
Thank you. And you are a leader too, for understanding this and spotlighting this.
Wow.
Yeah.
When it comes to the environment, I'm seeing here you talk about spotlight on the Mau Desert.
Yes.
Mau Desert. Why so? What is the angle here?
So the angle for this particular story was because Kenya is really advanced in 2063. There's a Mau forest, and there's some people who have already bought the vast majority of this particular area.
Yes.
And you know what happens with the forest, like they're actually capturing water, and they are the reserve for the environment. So they're building, by this time, they're building luxurious apartments in this area.
And
so
I'm seeing only 60,000 hectares of the forest was untouched.
Exactly. So the president has just put out a statement and said that they will not be selling any more of that land, and there's not going to be any apartment or houses built on this land, just to protect the environment. I think the whole point of bringing an environmental angle to these stories is, as much as we can envision the education, the health, the art scene, we cannot leave environment and climate change out of the equation. All these things are interconnected.
And here we now, when it comes to working as a creative now, what challenges do you face when it comes to putting all these things together as, you know, as a lady, you know, and maybe later on we would like also to touch on the role of the women. But first of all, how are you when it comes to the challenges that you face in putting this piece of work together and putting and collecting all the creatives that you can find from the grassroots to come to where you want them to be?
Okay, that's a good question. I think the main challenge that I faced was just to make sure there's different angles to a newspaper, a real newspaper that is represented on this particular one. That's why you see there's a sports story, you know, there's the main story, then there's page 3 is starting to highlight women. So women kind of have been given more space in this newspaper. There's business, there's education. So the main challenge,
there's practically almost everything here.
You know, there's technology. So the main challenge was to have that balance, and at some point there were some things missing, and because I'm already working with some seniors on the project, you know, they would tell me there's an education story missing, so put that in. So the main challenge was to have that balance. You know, we didn't want to have a newspaper where someone would read and be like, of course this is a dummy. You know, the way you see, the way it's been printed doesn't look like a dummy, doesn't read like a dummy. So the main challenge was to make it as real and believable as possible.
Why the title Form Ni Ghani?
Because Form Ni Ghani.
I wish you the best.
Thank
I wish
you
the
so
best.
much. Thank you so much.
Even as creatives, you're doing a very big role here. Based on this is an eye-opener, actually.
Thank
even
you.
for Kenyan leaders.
Thank you. I'm happy to hear.
That is the one and only Anyiko joining us in studio. And she came with a newspaper from the future, 2063. But if anything, it's all about being creative. You know, it's all about ensuring that how our talent can be used in the right way, in the right manner, even as to create jobs for the Kenyan youth. Remember, the unemployment rates are so high. How can we reduce it? Remember, being creative is one solution that Anyiko is putting on board, offering even a glimpse of how the future can be if we take Kenya to the right direction. Our SMS line is on 20154. That is the SMS line. Our hashtag, Good Morning Kenya, on Twitter, at KBC Television, at Jane Wambui. Tag me at Ram Aguko Official, at KBC Television. It's the end of this show this morning. I pray that God will give you grace even as you continue watching more of our programming on KBC Channel 1. Keep it KBC. See you tomorrow very early in the morning at 6 a.m. God bless you. God bless the work of your hands. My name is Ram Aguko.